Hi everyone, welcome. You're watching Conversations with Mia live. We are officially live again. Let me just tell you, I am so excited to come back to you guys this way. I have missed the community we built here on Facebook and on YouTube. I want to thank everyone for all the support so far. I am excited about today's topic. So this time last year, I brought a group of Black men together to talk about toxic masculinity. And now we're going to talk about toxic femininity. And I'm so honored to have these beautiful women. Okay, they are here. We are ready to break it down. Again, I'm not trying to be overly professional. I want us to have a community conversation. So if you're watching and you want to chime in, please chime in. Ask your questions, type your questions in the comments. I'm going to see your questions and make sure that it is up here. Okay, and without any further delay, let me introduce my guest. First, we have Chioma Amaryllis, okay, the powerhouse herself. She is here and ready to break it down for us today. Hi, Chioma. Thanks for joining. And then we have Melita Laborde. Hi, Melita. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And then we have LA Dials, a very good friend of mine here in Houston. Ladies, thanks for coming on and representing. So I'm just going to dive right in. We have people watching already. Again, if you're watching, please comment. Okay, and make sure to share this video. Share this video to like what we're talking about. Share it across your platform. All right, ladies, let's go right into it. What is toxic femininity? Everyone's really talking about it. It's a new term now in this new age. What is it? Anyone can take it away. What is toxic femininity? Oh,
I'll
Choma, you're on
start.
mute. Oh,
So,
there you go. Yeah.
okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, Ellie, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Awesome. So, for me, toxic femininity is when the woman uses her femininity in a negative way, because it
Mm,
is our power. Being a feminine woman is our power. But if we use
mm,
that to manipulate others, to be self-centered, or in other ways that are not in a positive, healthy environment, that's toxic.
mm. Well said. Using it in a very negative way. Any other add-ons? Do you guys agree with LA's definition of toxic femininity?
Yes. For me, it's personally women who gossip, and that's yeah. Uh, Some women think it's normal in friendships because we are close and we can tell each other everything. But for me, that's a reason not to build a friendship with you
Mm,
because I
mm,
cannot.
mm,
It's not. So that's also a part of the toxic femininity. And I see it even further because when you asked me to be on this show about toxic femininity, it brought me back to the school ground because that's where it starts.
oh
The
wow.
cute little girls teasing the other little girls and saying, "You cannot play with me because your hair is not long enough or your eyes are funny," or that's where it starts, I think, personally.
Mm. Wow,
Yeah,
you're really
I,
going in, Melita. Hmm.
yeah, I agree with the other ladies. I think that for me, I think it's when it's this idea of like turning women into objects, right? For the gratification of men, and objects that are for um pleasing men. And then when you as a woman, or when any other woman doesn't conform to that, and say, oh, you're not feminine enough, you don't you don't like men, or when you are not conforming to that, the expectation that society has, or that your particular culture has, for the roles that women are supposed to play, like whether it's to be, if your society, if your culture says, oh, you're supposed to be married at a certain age, but at that age you are maybe following your career, you're doing too much, independent woman, you don't want to marry and be, and other women would really basically bully you for that, right? And or even just when you marry and you haven't had kids, for example, you want to travel the world, but you're not conforming to that idea, society's idea of what femininity is, which is, when once you marry a man, you are a housewife, and you give birth, and you're a mommy, and so when you don't conform to that, I think that femininity, or the idea of what femininity can be, can then, be turned in a toxic way, because then you are deviating from that, and then being punished, or being talked down, for it. That's the way that I see the toxic femininity. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Does anyone want to add on to what Chama said before I add on? Because no, that was very spot on. And thank you, ladies, for providing the examples. Melita just went straight into talking about, women who gossip about each other. And I was like, oh, she went in. I saw LA's face. LA was like, girl, don't do that. She just
Yeah.
went in. And then Chama definitely broke it down, especially in terms of the different cultural aspects. And so this actually connects to a definition of toxic femininity that I read online under the Psychology Today. It's an article online, and it says, and please listen because I would love for us to really dissect this even more. It says toxic femininity encourages silent acceptance of violence and domination in order to survive. And I know, like, for psychologists, when they say violence, they mean like just like not necessarily like the aggressive violence, but pretty much a different kind of way of life, if that makes sense. So it also goes on to say it's a thing women do to keep our value, which the patriarchy has told us is conditional upon our ability to bear violent domination. Toxic masculinity, on the other hand, also makes women feel locked into performance of their gender, deferred of the normal impulses we have towards independence, sexual agency, anger, volume, messiness, ugliness, and being a tough bird to swallow. Doesn't this kind of connect to what you guys are saying? 100%, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly. Because
So, any other? Mhm.
I think that women already have a lot of pressures, right? That are that I think that society, even without society knowing, like, women just go through like daily struggles, like the pressures for women, on what being feminine is. It's already hard, right? Right? You have to look feminine. You have to put yourself together, even if you're having a bad day, even if your kids have kept you up at night, right? So the pressures are already there in terms of like being able to like balance life and balance family and stuff. So for me, I think that a lot of people don't even think that femininity can become toxic, right? Because
Mm,
in essence, it's like you're just a woman. It's like people grow up just having a mother. You have a mother and she takes care of everything, right? Somehow she goes to work, she comes back and she cooks, right? But, society also expects her to look well put together while she's doing all those things, right? And then when she doesn't meet all those roles, like she's already pressured, she's going through all these pressures, but somehow the day she doesn't do her hair well, or she the way she or she, maybe the way she dresses, she just wears sweats instead of dressing up and what Nigerians would say, tush yourself up. And when she doesn't do all of these things, she's gossiped about, she's talked about, men say, oh, she's not feminine enough for a man, but she's also not feminine enough for a woman, and she's
mm,
also not feminine enough for society. So to me, I just feel like women really, really have it hard already for then but on the other flip side of it, I think is what one of my co-panelists were saying. It's sort of like it's women that are also pushing that forward, right? It's women that are
mhm,
gossiping about it. It's women that are competing. I think we'll
mm,
go into that later, where there's this constant thing of compete. There's something we're constantly competing. It's almost like a to be chosen or something, right? And it becomes very, very toxic. That's where the manipulation comes in. That's where the trying too hard comes in. That's why, that's where the stepping on another person's foot, or taking another person's man, or doing, that's where all of that comes, that toxicity comes with all of that stuff. But to me, I think that it's also women that can have these conversations, right? So that we can
yes,
get at the
The
root,
root of the problem.
yes, of how it turned out to be that way. You know, why are we in the playground gossiping? You know, like my sister said, like it starts from there. There's something making us that way, right? So yeah.
What is that one thing though? Like, and I like that Melita said it starts from, and you just referenced what she said. It starts from the playing ground. It starts from being little kids. We're told to be this certain way. Why? Like, where did all this stem from? What is that root cause that we're talking about? Do you guys know perhaps any ideas? Where did it stem from? I'm just asking an open question. If you guys are watching right now and you want to add on, please comment. Like, where did all this feminine ideal stem from? I know some people might say it's biblical, which is fine. Yes, when God created man and woman, He says man is got to be this way, women got to be this way. The Bible says women have to be more feminine, women have to play more of a supportive role. But is that where it really comes from, and is that where society got this idea from, and now has changed it into something different?
Yeah. She go ahead.
Yes, I think well, the source of it is insecurity, what I think, and also from childhood, the girl has to be better and more beautiful, and it's comes from upbringing, I think, because I will tell a story about my childhood, because the first when I saw it, I said, no, this is starting really early, because I experienced some things with some girls who were really mean, and you see that through the school, through all the ages, and even grown up women do it to each other. So that's for me.
Chama, you wanted to add on to that?
Yeah, no, I think it starts even before we get here. Because I think we can only no to be honest, I think we can only give
That makes sense.
what we have, right? So your aunties and your mom, your grandmother, all the female influences that you have around you, right? They went through it at some point. So it's basically like if we go all the way to the beginning, somebody can say, oh well, it came from the culturally prescribed roles of, um what I should do as a woman. You said biblical, we say cultural, so all of those things factor in. But there's a reinforcement. There is a thing where you're growing up and you are being around women, grown women, and they are tearing each other down. They are stealing each other's men, and they are competing, whether it's my child went to this other kindergarten, so this other one can, I'm Nigerian, so I'm looking at it from that context, right? As a Black woman in America, for example, you look at there's, to me, I think there's always this constant um, reinforcement, even with popular culture. You have to do to please a man, or to attract a man, or to how to. There's so many books. How to attract a man, how to keep a man, how to attract him, then keep him. Then when you keep him, and there's just too much, right?
Yes,
And
yeah,
it is like I said, and I'm not saying that men do not have pressures, but again, this is about femininity and all that. I think that because women already have it hard, those influences around, it's hard not to pick it up, right? By the time she gets, you're in the playground at 3, 4, 5, there are things that you act out without even knowing where it started, like talking down on another girl, or saying, oh, her hair is not that long, or she doesn't know how to dress, or she wants to steal I mean, why would a 3-year-old be thinking about, you want to steal my boyfriend? Where did they get that from, right? But there's this competition that has been groomed into
You
us
know,
as women, right? That you exist for the gaze of the man, right? Your presentation, your
yeah,
physical presentation has to be to attract men. So when you're not doing that, other women around you are there to checkmate you and to
to
say,
bash you.
you're not doing it right. I mean, look at
Bully.
the booty explosion. Everybody got booties now, right? It's you know. But when you really think about it, guys would say, "Oh well, they're not doing it for me. They're not doing it for me." And then women, a woman would tell you that your butt is flat. like that your hips are not there. Like, so to me, I think the environment reinforces that. The female influences that you have around you influences that, even before society, even before you start knowing what it is for a man to want you or to desire you, is a woman telling you, you have to do this, you have to dress like this. For men, Nkechi, is this how you're going to do your husband's house? This is where it starts. you know, you can't, if you cook and there's too much salt, is this how you're going to do it in your husband's house?
Mm.
You can't dress, is this how you're going to do it? And it gets reinforced and reinforced and reinforced and reinforced, and you realize that you're an adult and you don't know how these things started. But that's where it
Exactly.
starts.
Chama, you've spoken so well. I mean, there are comments rolling in. I'm going to read one of the comment, but before I read the comment, I have to say this. I've heard people say women are not even dressing for men. Women are not doing makeup for men. They're not, getting all the surgery or whatever for men. They're doing it for other women because of how they want other women to attract them to accept them and accept the way they look. So that makes total sense. But still, my question is, you know, where did this come from? And I feel like we haven't really tackled that. And don't even say this. Like, where did we learn this from? And I know there are different areas, and I want you, Ellie, to kind of provide more insight on it because Shoma did provide insight, but I feel like we haven't gotten to like the actual root cause. Like, where did all of this feminine desire to be feminine toxicity, where did it come from your opinion, Ellie?
Yeah, so I feel as though it comes generations down.
Okay,
Generations
so it's
down. We
passed down.
have,
Yeah, Shoma kind of said that too.
yes,
Yeah.
it is passed down because exactly. And the reason why we're getting it in the home is because it's coming from the mother who got it from her mother,
Mm,
who got it from her mother,
mm.
who got it from her mother. So it goes generations deep. And the thing about it, I really feel like,
Ellie, did we lose you? Okay, well, let me just go ahead and ask this question then, because Ellie made some really, really good points. Is it bad to be feminine? Is it bad to be? Is she back? At least she's not back. Okay.
It's
For you,
Chris,
Melita, and for you, Shama, is it bad to be feminine? Is being feminine a good thing or is it a bad thing? What do you think? Because now we're
yeah,
saying it's a little toxic. So is dressing a certain way, having your makeup done, looking pretty, trying to look attractive, trying to have that feminine energy? Because I consider myself a very feminine woman, right? So is being feminine a bad thing, or is me even saying that I'm a feminine woman a bad thing? What do you guys think?
no, it's good because you are a woman and you need to celebrate that and make yourself. Because for me, it's like putting a flower in my head. That's for me. I'm like, oh, you look so good, and the little lipstick on, earrings, and you just feel better. And then you can, present yourself, feel better, and shine to the world. So no, it's not bad to be feminine. And also the nurturing part, that you can take care of people and cook and really enjoy them, eating. That's, for me, that's very feminine. So no, that's, and of course I'm an artist also. I have to be feminine in my art. And no, it's not bad. It will become bad when we are talking about the subject now, when you're using it, because women are very smart and we have more emotional intelligence. We think about things, we think it through sometimes, and that's, you can use it as a good thing and also bad. But no, femininity, of course, it's good to be a feminine and to come up to for yourself, to defend yourself. Yeah.
You know what? And before Choma, before you go, I do want to put up what Doing said. She said, "Embrace your femininity." She says, "If you don't appreciate yourself, who else will appreciate you?"
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. And I want to read this comment from Verdell. She says, "Femininity versus gender roles, womanhood versus wifehood versus motherhood. As soon as baby's gender is assigned at birth, the expectation starts. Pink blanket for the baby girl, right? Blue blanket for the boy. Now we have all this, and this is me just adding on to what Verdell said. Now we have this gender reveal party. right? And so if it's blue, then oh yeah, you're having a baby boy. But then if it's pink, it's a baby girl. And I saw one where it was just white, and they were like, "What's going on?" So that comment definitely is on point. Chama, you wanted to add on to what Melina was saying?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely powerful to be feminine. I think that more women should actually understand the power that they have. Um, you know, no, but seriously, I think I mean, what's there not to love, right?
Mm.
I think there is immense power. I heard someone speak, one of my mentors speak one time, and she said something like, women need to embrace just how powerful they are, right?
Mm,
It's a
mm, mm,
thing where you are powerful by design. We are multitaskers. We bring life into this world. We are able to. Have you ever tried to have a man do three things at a time?
Tell me, girl. Yes,
Yeah,
men
right.
or not? Yeah.
Mow
Sorry,
the
not trying
lawn,
to
take out
bash
the
men
trash. Two
here,
things, but
but we are better at
definitely.
multitasking.
We don't give ourselves enough credit,
Yes.
and I think that men have their role and women have their role, and I think that in each of them need to revel in that. But for me, being feminine goes beyond. If I mean, goes beyond just getting my hair done or putting on a little bit of makeup or putting lipstick or wearing a dress. Even when I don't feel feminine, I am feminine, right? Because there's that ownership of the fact that I am a woman. I'm not trying to be a man. The fact that I'm choosing a career and I'm trying to balance that with my home life and stuff. It's not a pick and choose. I just am. I am woman, right?
Mm,
I just am.
mm,
It's not a performance. It's not a thing where I'm not a woman today and I'll just go put it on. No, it's not the time we do our hair that we become a woman. It's in the way that
mm,
we walk. It's in the way that we multitask. It's in the way that we're able to take care of so many people at the same time and take care of so many things in our heads at the same time. It's the way that despite all of these pressures and all of these things and all of the toxicity and stuff or whatever, you just wake up every day, man, and just put your glasses on, put a little lip on, and just to feel good. But to me, there was something that you were saying, Nia, and you were saying, is it wrong to be feminine and stuff? And absolutely not. I think that
mm.
no, that is not to say I think that sometimes we think about femininity as just the appearance. I think it's a
Okay.
mental thing. You
Yes.
have to
Wow.
to own that. To own that, it has to be feminine. The reason why I say that is, think about it. When your hair isn't done, you're still feminine,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's not the hair. I mean, the hair makes the presentation maybe a lot easier, so we are not in doubt, right? Or but who do we make up for? For example, I
Yes.
know that some people say, "Oh, you don't make up for guys," like or whatever. I don't think when I'm choosing a red lipstick, I'm thinking, "Oh, what is gonna." No, I.
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
lipstick. It's just dress up. You just feel good, and then you look as good as you feel on the inside. There are women who feel very feminine in tracksuits.
Mm.
There are women who feel very, very feminine in wearing masculine presenting clothes. You know, have you worn a nicely tailored tuxedo
Oh, yes.
with like a pair of really, really high heels?
And you feel so powerful, so
Yeah.
snatched, well put together. Yes, that's so
Exactly.
true.
Yeah.
Very well said. So let me, Ellie, do you want to add on before I move on to the next
It's the
question? Anyone
vibe.
wants to add on? Yes, please. You want to add on? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's the vibe. That's it. Being a feminine woman is a vibe.
Mm,
So it doesn't matter what your messy hair, and it's not even for men. That's where society does try to fit us in a box. And I mean, we are outside the box. We come in so many different ways, and so it's. I understand about the gender roles, the mother roles, the wife roles, and all of those other things. But yeah, definitely femininity is all within us, and how we
mhm,
lean back, how we can just be supported
mm.
versus maybe not being in a masculine energy all the time, which is I think maybe a toxic femininity is whenever some women, which isn't something that a lot of women in America, I know for sure, don't feel like they can be supported. So that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You got it.
No, 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 no. You're fine. No, no, you're fine. I love that you bring up toxic masculinity as well. What should we call it? Let me just put up this comment by Doing. She said it's not the physical appearance, and she was actually referring to what Chama was saying, and we agree 100%. So, ladies, let's go a little deeper here. What are some examples of some toxic feminine traits that has been projected to you? Maybe someone said some things to you. Give us examples. Let's dive even deeper. Maybe it was a parent, a friend, you saw something on Twitter that was just very toxic, feminine. Give us some examples.
Well, like I said, for me, it started very young. I saw the difference, the girls in my class, and it was really bad because they were my best friends. At least I thought they were. I think I
Mm,
was 6, 7 years old when it started. We had this group of friends, and I was also part of it. But then I started to go to dance classes, and I already went to dance class, but only one time a week. And then I started doing ballet and classical and show ballet and tap dancing, and I was there 3, 4 times a week. So it that I now thinking back, because then I didn't understand. I think thinking back, that's when it changed. And
mm,
then they started to tease me, like, why are you wearing that in your hair? It's stupid. Why are you wearing those shoes? And, little things like children, small children. And they started to form like a clique against me. And they were
mm,
popular girls, two popular girls in my class. And they had this whole group against me. And they would wait until I come to school every morning. It was every morning. It was really
mm.
bad. And so
Wow.
people say, yeah, children tease. Yeah, I don't know, but it went really, really far. And they used their, because they came from good families and they
Mm,
had money and they looked good. They had all the brands. And my mother was just a single mother with me. And she was struggling with all those 4 classes that I had. You know, she struggled and she paid it and she brought me there with all the time with the bus and everything. But they had it, they were wealthy and very spoiled girls, and
mm.
that's my first experience. My first. I had many more after,
After
unfortunately.
that, it's so funny you say that, Melissa. I mean, it's not funny, but it's so interesting that you say that, Melissa, because I think a lot of young girls have had the same similar experience growing up, especially in high schools. A lot of young girls have been ridiculed, and I can confirm also, like going to high school here in America, I was heavily ridiculed, and it wasn't by the men. The guys were very nice, they were very friendly. It was always by the women. Talking about the way I look, the fact that I'm African, the way that I sound, how dark I am, and just things like that. So it's very interesting that you bring that up because we don't realize how early on all of this toxic traits start, right? That's so.
Mhm.
Thanks for sharing your powerful story. Any other examples and experiences you guys have had, Choma or LA?
Yeah, I think that it is very important. Sorry about that. It's very important sometimes for us to sort of think ahead. I always think about, raising kids that are um, not bullies, right? I
Mm,
think that it's important that she said that. I think that no matter what you look, no matter how comfortable that you were, no
yeah.
matter how rich that your parents were, bullying, I was bullied a lot actually.
Mm,
Bullying is just something that I think that when kids learn bullying, when kids are born, they don't know who is different, right?
mhm, mhm,
The
mhm,
families they grow up in, the influences. I always talk about the influences around the children is what creates that bullying, right? Kids who their parents bullied other people will really turn to bullies. And
Exactly.
sometimes kids who were bullied also end up bullying other children.
Mm.
So for me, I think I'm glad I really am glad that that part that she brought up this part because it's really really important to understand where that comes from, right from the playground, right from when kids are still in that innocent phase and stuff. They reiterate things that they heard. I was called like Inkitandiocha, which means like a white man's dog, because of the way that I looked and because of the way that my eye color was and
Ooh.
stuff. It's a little, and it was very but I remember just having really high confidence, right? Not necessarily because I just had high confidence because I was like a bookworm. So for me, I escaped through books, and my mom and my dad like pretty much didn't call me those things, so it didn't matter. But I know a lot of people didn't have that, right? The people that didn't have that, where they had a home life that completely contradicted the things that they hear. We say children are just bullying, they will get over it, but those children grow up into even bigger bullies.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
all watch reality shows, and I'm not coming here to like this reality shows. When you
The
watch
best. Yeah.
reality shows, you can see that it hasn't changed from the playground. It hasn't changed from high school. It hasn't changed from middle school, where somebody's saying you're trying to steal my man. Meanwhile, you don't even know who this man is or who this boy
Mm.
is. You haven't even
Preach,
talked to
girl.
this boy. Just because you got your hair a certain way, or maybe because your body type is a certain way, or maybe because you looked like something. Girls especially are raised to think that men are scarce, like they are something to compete for, that
Mm.
you gotta get a man, you have to get a man. It's like that thing. It's just like, so
Mm.
you are not
It's a
raised to
prize.
have
That's the prize.
camaraderie
That's
with
the
other
prize. Yeah.
girls. Yeah, it's there's always this sort of scarcity that is and to me is manufactured, because there's a lot of men in the world and we can't get them all, right? So this idea that it is scarce is something for you to compete with another woman for. That is why, sometimes, they say it's so easy for, they say, oh, women supporting women. It shouldn't be a thing, right? It should just be a no-brainer. But you see, in a situation whereby we're talking about playgrounds, but I mean, I'm 36 years old, and I don't think that the things that I experienced as a child has changed now, right? It's just that we grew up. Bullies grow up too. So I think it's important for us to, since we have gone to where the origin of all of this toxic femininity came from, that we raise children differently, right? We raise children intentionally to understand that, there's a difference between, there's a reason why, you're in a Maserati and somebody else is in a bus. There's a reason. These things, we can raise children that are sensitive to these things, right? Like where, you're not making fun of somebody, because I remember, high school, I think it was fat farm was like, the in thing. That a kid is not wearing fat farm doesn't mean that you're better than them, right? And then you grow up, it becomes a different designer, it becomes a different brand, it becomes a different thing. You're not driving a Mercedes, then it means you must not be hustling, right? You must not. So it's never ending. So, but I just think it's just the way that we are raising our children, and also the way we are raising ourselves. Like as a
Exactly.
grown woman and stuff, what does it really do to you if you help another woman like get up? Like there's enough space for all of us. There's enough and space at that table for us to sit. I also do politics in Nigeria and stuff, and maybe later on we can talk about how toxic femininity also plays into that, into that situation. So
Mhm.
I think it's just something that we can relearn and unlearn. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Let me read a comment, and I'm gonna read a post that was on BuzzFeed and different women giving their own examples of toxic femininity and what they've experienced. So this comment here is from Verdell as well. She says, "Love that. Femininity is not in a box. My issue is when femininity is only categorized as soft, weak, and having a humble personality, all the time submissive to all men." This is exactly what we're talking about. Shema, this literally like captures everything you're saying, right? We have to compete for that. We have to be a certain way to meet the male patriarchal standards, right? We have to be pretty, we have to be quiet, we have to be demure. All those characteristics we're asked to I will ask to become and have as women in society. Let me read some examples, and maybe we can, broaden this conversation. And everyone who's watching, maybe you can also add on. Please keep commenting. I'm loving the comments coming through. I'm loving this. So one of the examples I found on BuzzFeed was a lady who said, "My grandma keeps telling me to lose weight and go on this diet, and she wonders why I don't like to go visit." Right? Again, those society standards, like, hey, you have to be a certain size to attract a man, like Summer was saying. Another example is another person says, "I hate when women tear other women down for doing girly things. Some women do the I'm not like other girls thing to an extreme. So if you do like makeup or nails, you're automatically beneath women who choose not to do that because they're all past all that." Does that make sense? So
Yes.
basically, this is very unique
And
because we're all here. We're all here. Let me just say this: we're all here focused on women who bash women and women who force women to meet male standards. But this person is saying women. There are women who actually bash women for being that way, for meeting male standards, for doing makeup, trying to be humble, trying to be cute, trying to be pretty. There are also women who bash women for that, and that's also toxic femininity. I don't know what you guys think.
it's both ways. Yes.
It's both
I
ways. Yeah.
yes. Cause you see me now with my natural hair, but when I'm on stage, I look like Beyonce. I have my slick ponytail and a lot of gel and the glitters on and the heels and so I have both, yeah, and both sides of the women have all kinds of comments. They ask me when I'm going to do something with my hair. When are you going to do something with your hair again? So that means it's not good like this. Or then the other way around is like, wow, why do you have that horse hair on your head? Like, excuse me. It's really, and I mean, women like 30, 40 years. That's, I don't know. Yeah,
Brutal.
yeah.
Oh yeah, age doesn't matter.
It's bad. Both ways. Yeah.
This is
That's for
interesting.
me, it's toxic femininity.
So we
Mm.
bash women that are too feminine for
Yes.
meeting male standards, and
Yes.
then women who are not, then women who are feminine bash other women that are not too feminine
Uh,
for not being feminine. Oh my gosh, we are so
mm,
complex
We
as a
we can't we
society.
can't win. You know,
We cannot win.
you really can't win.
I like. I. This is so complex. I mean, who Jesus?
but that's
There's
what
this
men
thing
say.
about makeup, there's this thing
Okay.
about, I bet you have to take her swimming, and it's sometimes it's women that type those things, right? And then because men sometimes don't really care, they don't know the difference between Ruby Woo and a different lipstick, right? So sometimes just want you to look good, right? They don't know if it's a lip gloss or a matte lipstick. They don't know the difference.
You don't know the
It's
difference.
women that
Yeah.
know the difference. So they. That's why sometimes when a woman says something to you, it hurts because she knows. So there's this thing of like, oh, but I think it's all related though, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when you're too feminine, you must be feminine to, I think it's called, so it's like you must be feminine so that men can see you and you attract them. I've had people come into my inbox sometimes to tell me about during the elections and stuff. So I do some political stuff in Nigeria as well. So during the elections, I've had people tell me not to wear certain things, right? So I wear very African looking things sometimes, I've had people walk up to me like I was there to like I was there to entice the governor and stuff. Like I was there to attract men. I couldn't possibly look this way and also be smart, right? I must be there. I must be doing all this like I must be wearing makeup or wearing like a dress. I could be wearing a campaign t-shirt and a skirt, and I will just, but because my hair is done and my face is done and I put, so that it becomes that thing. Oh, it's not every mustn't wear makeup. The real beauty is not wearing makeup. So it becomes a bullying of, so when you are maybe feminine presenting, then when you're not feminine presenting, it's why don't you do your hair? So you can't win.
Oh
Mm-mm.
my God, you're
Do
not like
whatever,
you.
do whatever makes you happy, because you can't win with people. No matter how you do, there's going to be toxic femininity. No, you can't really, you literally cannot win, Nia. I'm serious. You cannot win. Just do
Right.
you.
This is fact. Like when I mean you guys are speaking truth to power because I'm so glad, Choma, you mentioned. Look at my body's about to die. I'm so glad, Choma, you mentioned that whole political setting and having to dress a certain way because for thick girls like myself, it is hard in these streets. Okay, when I tell you, it's like
Hello.
even if I wear, thank you, even if I wear like a fitted dress, right, that is covering my knees, even if it's like maybe not overly snatched, just like fitted, oh my gosh, you're showing too much. Your boobs are out. Your butt is out. And I'm like, what do you want me to wear? A baggy clothes? When I tell you guys the stress it takes for me to dress up every time I have an event, because I have to think about all these other factors. Am I showing this? Is cleavage showing? Is booty showing? Then you have to think about the fat you're trying to cover. You gotta snatch the stomach in. You gotta do. Listen, Chuma, you gotta. You cannot win. Like, cause if I if I look unkept, they're gonna talk about it. If I don't look unkept, they're still gonna talk about it. Oh, she just wants too much attention. Oh, she's always having makeup and hair this way. I mean, you cannot win.
You
You
can't
guys,
win.
what about you, Melita and LA? Any comment, any add on? Especially now with social media, I just can't. I can't. Everyone is just judging. Everyone is watching you to judge what you're doing and what you're saying.
Yeah, it's bad. No, well, I'm on social media too, on Instagram, and I'm not the Instagram artist model type. I just do me, like someone said. One day I'm at the election poll station. I was the head of the poll station, so I'm there with a bright yellow jacket, and I put that on there, and with my mother also, and then I'm just myself, and I don't have a lot of followers, but I don't care because I'm going to be myself, and I don't like to be. I've always been like this. I told you the story about school, and I said no, I cannot be friends with one group. I have to be friends with good people, and they're in several groups. So that's how I still do it. I have so many, even on Clubhouse, I have a lot of different networks where I find my people. And that's also if you get too much in one click, it can. So we were talking about where it comes from. Well, your environment also. Like we
Mm.
said, family, but friends. Oh, friends. Friends can just tell you a lot of bad things because they think I'm very stupid for not playing the games with rich man. They're like, "Oh, you're stupid. You should have done this and you should have done that." I'm like, "But I don't like him." you
Oh
know.
my God. Melina, let me just add on to what you just said. And I feel like I'm usually like when I do this shows, I don't talk a lot. But when I tell you this strikes a nerve, I'm over here just talking and talking nonstop. And just forgive me, audience, but I gotta say this. So speaking about men and speaking about all this stuff you guys are saying, so I've had people, and Joma, I think you can relate to this. I like you said, and this is what you kind of said, Melina. You said um, of course, we can't win either way, and a woman cannot just be beautiful and smart, right? You just can't. It's almost like impossible. And I've had people with my media company right now. I've had people say to me, "Wow, look at the way you dress. Oh my gosh, so elegant, so nice. Who's that senator that you're with that's paying for everything?"
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. It's not one person. And listen, I'm putting not one person, not two people. Like Nia, there must be a senator or some kind of a politician there that's paying for everything because you just look too good and too rich.
You're just a smart shopper.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I bought this shoe
It's
for twenty
audacity for
ninety nine.
me. It's the
What?
audacity for me.
I'm like, I bought this shoe for 29.99. Okay, 20 and 99 cents. What's he talking about? Okay, we just know how to fake it till we make it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
We'll
So I
find a
guess for me,
bargain.
it's just thank you. The biggest takeaway is here is we just got to do us. You can't win both ways. You just got to do you. You just got to do you. So my next question is, with how social media is going right now, and I don't even want to bring up the topic about surgeries and all that crazy stuff. I don't even want to dive into because everyone has their opinion. Maybe later I will talk about it and unpack it. But with that, with how social media is moving, do you think that is influencing the way we see other women and the way we treat women and making us become more toxic? So now, because everybody has a BBL, when we see a woman with a natural body, we're so quick to condemn her, right? Because everyone has a very nice Instagram page. And when we see a woman whose Instagram page is not up to par, we condemn that person. Do you think social media right now is influencing and making this femininity become even more toxic?
I think so. I think so. I'll give you an example. Give you a
Okay.
very specific example. The snapback culture, right? You know, when a woman gives birth and she's supposed to snap back, and because popular culture, social media has shown you that this celebrity had a baby a week ago, and the baby's now like 1 day old, and she has a pack, right? So I think it becomes toxic because raising impossible standards for women. There's a lot of women go through a lot during pregnancy, and not everybody's going to snap back exactly the same way. Some people, it might take them a year. Some people, it might take them 10 years. Some people, it might take them a day. Some people, it's just genetics. It's just lifestyle. It's just some people have medical issues and stuff. But that pressure is there, right? Because you saw, and then women are also um allowing themselves to go through this pressure. When you go through Instagram, for example, you go through women almost being apologetic about the fact that they didn't snap back as quickly as possible. Like, who gives a damn? I mean, you have your baby, like, forget about these people, they don't matter. Like, you have a healthy child, you have a healthy baby, you have a healthy life. And as women, yes, I would be very, very honest with you. When I gain weight, I don't feel my best, and it has nothing to do with a man or a woman. It's just like, I get more lethargic, I don't have enough maybe energy to do my daily things. So I'm doing stuff, I'm looking good because I want to feel good, I want to live longer, I want to do it for like health issues, and I want to get better. But to me, I think that the way that social media has made it where everything is instant, everything is in your face. I don't think that the generations before us had the same exact pressures, because at least it would be your friends and the immediate people that saw you that dealt with it. But this one, even if you don't go outside, the pressures are there. Even if you're just inside your house with your phone, the pressures are right in your face. So for me, I think that it becomes so toxic because on the one hand, if you gain too much weight, there's a problem. If you lose too much weight and you're too thin, there is a problem. Then if you do the surgery to correct the parts that you're not comfortable with, there's a problem. If you don't do it, then you're too flat. If you dress just like you, Whitney, I have the same issue. Like, my body has been policed since I was like maybe 5 years old, and there's just not much that I can do about it. So I could either like get really, 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 really skinny, but then I'm on crack. But then if I'm really, 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 really curvy, which is like my normal setting, then it's like, oh my God, you are here to like attract people. I can't wear just a regular dress without it becoming form fitting. I can't, you know what I mean? So, but to me, I think that with the social media also gives us the opportunity to have the conversations, right?
Yes.
So as we're
Yes.
having these conversations, as I share these videos like throughout the week and we are engaging, you will hear from a lot of women who are
Mm,
saying, I'm right there with you. I feel these things. Because, we
mm,
feel them, we put them here, then we project it back in a negative
mm,
way to another person. You find yourself bullying people. You find yourself maybe backbiting. You find yourself just basically doing the same things that we're talking about without even knowing that you're doing it, because it has
mm,
been into your head. But if we
mm,
are talking about it, if we can be honest and say, sis, I mean, look, I envy you. I envy your lifestyle. I think you're doing great. I over compliment. I give people compliments all the
Mm.
time because I know how it feels to be complimented. I know how it feels for somebody to say, you're doing a good job, keep it up and all of those things. So for me, I think by doing that, you speak positivity onto something instead of
mm,
speaking negativity, instead of saying,
mm,
oh, why don't you lose weight? Oh, you look great. Your hair looks great. That thing can make that person be gingered. You don't need to be negative and be toxic and all that, because the thing is, sometimes you become the toxic person that you think talk about because you have held these things in. Social media it's a weapon that can be used for good or evil. So for me, I think I'm just in the mind space that I want to have these type of conversations with other women where we speak to, there's a commonality. We all have gone through all these things we're talking about, right?
Mhm.
But imagine if
Mhm.
we didn't have social media to also talk about them, so we can correct them in real time, unlearn in real time, and then maybe hopefully do better in real time. Yeah. So
Powerful, very,
Mm,
very powerful. LA, Melida, any add-ons before I dive to the other question that I have? Any add-ons to what Chama is saying or to
yeah.
the conversation on how women
Yeah.
are reacting to women, body positivity, body negativity? Any
So
comments?
the relationships, I mean, toxic femininity in relationships with other men, or because of a man, or oh, that's another story, because I talk a lot with my brothers. I work a lot with men. I also study music production, so I know a lot of DJs, producers, and the games that are played with the femininity. It's I told you before, they're very smart. We are very smart, very emotional, intelligent, and you can think things through, and they use it to force their partner to do crazy things.
Mhm.
And it's really bad. The man works himself into a burnout, or does really really crazy things. I worked for a youth radio where a lot of rappers came, and they told me how expensive their girlfriends are. I'm like, huh, what expensive?
Mm.
And they had to do all these extra things to get her what she wants for the relationship. And I think that's very toxic. And it's also, when two women are put, the men play with it also,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
when they put two women against each other, you know
Mm.
that that is bad. That is really
Yeah.
bad. And if they're
I feel
really
like
abused, like toxic, then they will attack each other, or
Mhm.
one will attack the other because the man has lied, and they play all these games. So yeah, I see that happening a lot.
Yeah, that's a big one. I really like what you said about pitting women against each other. That's a big one that happens a lot. And when you think about the music industry,
Mm,
oh my goodness, that is a big one in entertainment industry overall. LA, do you have any add-on before I dive into the next question? We're almost at 1 hour.
Yes. Well, I would love to see a return of the sisterhood. I really
Mm,
feel like we are missing looking at the next woman as our sister, not our competition, not someone who I can hate on or somebody who I can capitalize upon. If I looked at her as my true sister, no matter what race, no matter what size, no matter what how much she made, then this will help us to build one another up. But some of us weren't raised in a positive sisterhood. And I really feel like if we're coming from a healed place, we're already dividedness. So it's difficult for us to look at each other as like a sister, especially if maybe our sister is the one that's got the stabbing the knife in our back.
mm,
So if we looked at each other as a true positive sisterhood and look to build one another up, we can
mm,
change the way that we even see the next person on Instagram or view the next person who's living their best life and not hating on them or gossiping about them, seeing them in
mm,
a view of love, but we got to have it within ourselves first.
mm. You know what? This is a perfect segue
Go
into
ahead.
solutions, and we're going to dive into solutions late, very, very soon. But I do want to say that another thing that really hit me was also connected to what Choma said again in terms of being a woman of fuller size. I just want to like kind of touch on that a little bit more, because my experience has been not just one, not two, not three family members, and I love my family. If you know me and my sisters, we are tight. My parents were tight. I've had even my dad tell me, honey, you gotta lose some pounds. You're in media, okay? Like, listen, okay? And that's just something that happens across the board. But like LA is saying now, if we form a deep sisterhood where we just uplift and support each other, magic can happen. But how do we start that? By loving ourselves first. That's a perfect segue into um solutions? And this is what Verdell is asking. How can we begin to practically dismantle toxic femininity? Are these initiatives already happening? She goes on to say maybe movements like the body positivity one. Would that help? Would you consider the body positivity movement to be a movement that is helping get rid of toxic femininity? What do you guys think? What are some solutions? And is body positivity movement a solution to eradicating toxic femininity?
Well, I have to say I'm in kind of a body positivity movement, and that's
Mm,
I love soca music, and soca is the Caribbean dance music from Trinidad and all the islands that you hear on Carnival. And actually, I'm going to a party tonight, and the women there, I love all my sisters. I went to a party 2 weeks ago in Germany, and we celebrate all sizes, all ages, and all colors all together. And we don't have like brands or a type of way you have to dance, or we are all together making fun. And it's so inclusive everywhere I go. We go to Berlin, we go to London, we go in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, and we are celebrating each other, our
mm,
bodies. And I do think that body positivity, especially with women, would help a lot. So I'm
mm,
glad I have my soca friends. I'm going to
yeah,
celebrate them tonight. But yes, women bring each other down a lot. I see that, especially on social media. I see that a lot.
Yeah, we
yeah,
can raise ourselves up. I think that inclusivity and body positivity, all of those things are um, great. But I think particularly there has to be mentorship. I think that's a
mm,
lot of the things that
Mhm.
I have young women that I mentor that are in Nigeria, and I haven't met any of them in person, right? So it's just this idea that I'm the only person who needs to be at that table, and then have people talk, that I can talk down to, is probably a way to dismantle a lot of this, right? So with mentorship, you have the opportunity to address and mentor women from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, and with all, like different body types, different, but you are bringing them together based on something, right? So, you inspiring them, making an impact in their life, in their businesses, this whole thing of women raising women, women
mhm,
supporting women, sisters supporting women, like LA said, about sisterhood. I think it goes beyond just leaving it to social media to do. I think it has to be intentional, and it has to
yeah,
be deliberate. It has to be just me and you, Nia, LA, saying, and you can just start with your Facebook tribe, your social media tribe, and your followers and stuff or whatever. Just make positive impact, do live videos, write
mhm,
status messages that bring together more than divide, because
mhm,
what that does is you start to build a community of women. There's a whole bunch
yeah,
of women empowerment or women supporting women type of groups on Facebook, especially in the Nigerian sphere, the African sphere, the Black women sphere. But I think that I want to go beyond this sort of fake camaraderie that is like a performance. This whole thing, oh yes sis, no, she's your sis, but you gotta act like she's your sis in every way. I'm not going to
yeah,
try to backbite you, and I'm not going to try to take yours, what is yours. I'm not going
Mhm.
to try to go behind in a business deal and try to break it, and you come and call me sis. That's not sisterhood, man. That's just a performance of sisterhood. And I,
mm,
I believe in, it's not about how many times you call somebody sis, it is about your action. So I think we need to get to that point of intentional. I don't like the performance aspect of, let's just be
yeah,
body positive, let's just be, I think we need to be a lot more intentional, have the conversations. Most of the time, some women just want to be heard, right?
mm,
They want to be heard about the struggles that they go through, and then bring in that camaraderie where we find that common ground, where we find that common denominator. Like we have, regardless of how we look, we all have
mm,
the same experience. Isn't that crazy? We were raised differently. We were raised in different countries. We were raised in different cities, but
mm,
somehow we have something that all of us can relate to. So that tells you that
exactly.
we are more similar than we are different. So it is
Mm.
about leveraging that similarity, and then not saying that the differences make us who we are, but making sure that those differences stay, less negative. If we fo- if we will, there will always be gossip. There will always be reality TV shows. There will always be situations where women will always be pitted against each other. There will always be that competition. I think there's a human nature aspect and psychological aspect that we probably obviously will not unpack in this conversation. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that there is a part where we can just be moderate.
Mm.
You can do things in moderation. It's not just alcohol, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that thing you're doing, and hurting another woman and going, I've had business deals where people said, oh, I'm not going to work on this project with her because what is the problem? Right. And the problem is not something I don't even know about. It's a situation, oh, she wants to steal my man. I don't like your man. I don't know who your man is. I don't even, the ones that I haven't even finished dealing with them. Like, what are you talking about? So, but you are being judged on your appearance. There is the projection of, like, and Ania, I think you experience this a lot in certain circles, where before you go to meet a certain person, you will have to change your outfit, and even if that
Oh
outfit
yeah.
is covered, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh
And
yeah.
it will be females on that team, it will be women around that personality that will come and project things that are not real.
Mm.
It's just about being able to manage that with grace, being able to turn that into a moment to teach. I always find every opportunity to teach,
That's,
right? A lot of these
yeah.
women have not had time to pause and have the conversation. You don't know
Mm.
why you act the way that you act because you're not aware of self. So to me, I think we need to do more than just congregate on social media. We need to be intentional, mentor
Mm.
people, and also just men are not scarce. Like, we're not running out of men anytime soon. You don't
No,
need to
we're
compete
not.
for them.
What's the need to compete? No, Chama, very well said. Let me just add on. You guys have unpacked a lot of things, and there's a lot of takeaways. A lot of takeaways. And I like what you said. I also don't believe in the fake camaraderie of, oh, hey sis, but what do we do afterwards? So it's all about being intentional and teaching those people. But I want to say this. Aside from having mentorship, aside from teaching all the time, I think individuals have to want to make the change themselves, right? You have to want to make that change. If there's a lot of programs out there, there's a lot of conversations like these, and you're not tapping into it to be a better person, then what's the point? What's the point? So you on your own have to want to change. You have to want to be intentional about being a good person. And to me, to be honest, if you are comfortable with who you are and what you are, like someone said here, negativity breeds negativity. You just keep projecting that negative energy everywhere,
Mhm.
and you as a person are just not happy and just miserable. So I definitely want to
Right.
encourage everyone who's watching and everyone who watches later or watching right now, like try to make that intention, like someone has said, consistent, intentional effort to try to be a better person and change yourself. Open yourself up to new opportunities, to new learning opportunities. And Choma and I can say this boldly because we are from Africa, we're from Nigeria, and when I tell you, it's those aunties, those local aunties who are not, forgive me for my choice of words, very educated, that will come up to you in the street and say, oh, Nne, put your stuff down or pull your dress down. It's a little too short. Oh, the way you're moving, your booty is shaking. No, don't you, it's those aunties. But I like what Chama has also said, like, let's use that as a teaching opportunity for them, right? Hey, auntie, no, it's okay. I'm not going out with the intent of trying to tempt everyone out there. Okay, everyone knows I'm a strong Christian girl. I'm very please God first before anyone. I'm not trying to tempt any guy, even on social media, whatever. No, I just like looking good for myself. So I don't have that intent. So it's every moment is a teachable moment, and I hope that more people, especially the future generation, can listen to conversations like this, enter into mentorship opportunities, and have the desire to mentally make this change for themselves. Any final words, panelists, before we close out? This has been a good conversation. We are 1 hour 4 minutes in. Any final words before I close this out?
Well, I was just going to add that we have to take a stand for what we believe in, what our core
Mm,
values are, and we rid it out of ourselves and also the people that are around us. So if we make a
mm,
stand and say that's not okay, that's not that
mm,
stand, it lets others know that, hey, this is not okay, instead of going along with it. Because sometimes we just go with the flow. So we have to make a stand in ourselves and say, hey, that's not okay. And it stops here for the next
Yeah,
person.
that,
I agree.
that's
Mm,
what
mm,
I want to add. Also, you said about people don't want to change, or it's hard to change. It's hard to change because you have a big group of people or family around you. You're going to lose people when you change, and
mm,
that's the hard thing. You know you're going to lose people.
Mhm.
And me personally, I've lost a lot of friends because I do not gossip. And I just found out that men also gossip with the women. And yeah, I'll just let them be. They can be friends. I don't need that. So I will just be with people who are, honest, and we can have a nice conversation about anything like we are talking here now. We should be friends, all of us.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, well
I
said,
agree. I
Melida. And
agree.
Chala?
I agree. I think it's always about there's always implications about things, right? I always
Mm,
tell people it's like sometimes you just gotta pause and be by yourself and think about the way that you feel when certain things are done to you, right?
mm,
I think that one of the things with women is that all throughout our lives, right from when we were kids, we accumulate friends and we do not take stock of those friendships over time. We say, oh, we went to school together, we went to high school together, we've been together since kindergarten. We always want to talk about the how long and not the how well. There are people who are in your life that are probably just not good for you, right? They're making you to be a backbiting, gossiping, negative, toxic person, right? And you realize that maybe when you cut those friendships, or maybe when you reduce the interactions you have with those people, think about the people you call up on the phone every day. If you
mm,
call
mm,
somebody on the phone and the first thing you do is gossiping about somebody else, or scheming about how you're
mm,
going to deal with someone that hasn't even done anything to you, or if so, to me there's something that is making you attract those type of people. I
mm,
know the type of friends that I have, and I just told myself, like, I'm just going to keep giving up a certain energy, and then I'm going to keep attracting that. I do my daily affirmations, and that's what I'm going to attract. I'm not going to attract toxicity because I don't want to be toxic, and I'm trying to
mm,
make an intentional step, you know, to
Mm.
unlearn certain things and to unpack certain things. And that unpacking, you said it rightfully, Nia, it has to be you. It has to start with
mhm,
you. You have to say, like, there are things that I do that are toxic.
mm,
There are things that are, because we are not all non-toxic, right? Sometimes you are the toxic person that your friend is talking about. You are that toxic friend, probably. Right. So for me, I think
mm,
that it takes taking stock. Some of those friends that you have, like, are you a better person because of it? Think of the things you do to other women, and if those things were done to
mhm.
you. Think about the information you also consume. There are people just come online and stuff.
Yes,
All they want to
yes.
do is just go on, gossip blogs, because I have friends who are gossip bloggers. But I know the quantity of it that I can consume, and I cannot
Mm,
consume more than a second of it, because between all of that stuff, there's news, there's information. But it's like
mhm,
this idea of taking information and taking information.
mm,
It can actually change the type of person that you are. It can change the way your toxic level can change because of the things you consume. Then you call your friends because you want to gossip about those things, and because you want to deal about, before you know it, you can do certain things that you think you're not
mhm,
capable of. So please take stock of yourself, of your
mm.
friendships. Take stock of the information that you consume every day on social media. Have time to unpack, to
Yes.
decompress, to regurgitate, like, not to regurgitate, to throw up, because you consume it. You have to throw it up for it not to be in you, or to excrete it out of your system. However,
Yeah.
I to me, I love this conversation, Nia. Thank you so much for having me, because I know that it is important for us to have these sisterhood building conversations. And yeah, and I loved it. Thank you.
No, you guys, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. Let me close out with this. First, I'm just gonna say that in connection to what you said, Chioma, you become what you consume, right? And this is something I say every time. Whatever you consume, that's who you become. So we need to be careful. I worry so much about the next generation and even this generation because I feel like with what we're consuming, that instant gratification, we see this post about, someone's relationship on, I mean, Stadium is a great platform, don't get me wrong, but what are we consuming? That's, most people are not consuming educational resources like this, a conversation like this that can change them. And that's what I worry about, because even now on Facebook, my audience are pretty much people that are way older than me, because they understand the importance of self development, the importance of self awareness. But the generation after us, it seems like that's lost. So I really hope that more people can really tap into this kind of conversation to really change themselves. And one of the hardest thing I say human beings have a problem doing is viewing themselves through a 360-degree lens. And I think that's the problem. That's why we don't change, because we don't take ourselves out of ourselves and see what is the problem with me. What am I doing that's wrong? What am I doing that's right? We just feel so comfortable, like, hey, this is who I am. I don't need to change. When someone tells you you're doing something wrong, you don't even see it, because you've not viewed yourself from that 360-degree lens to see who you are as an all-rounder and a person, what you're projecting. And I think it's important that we start doing that. Now, the last thing I'm going to say before I close out is college is starting again. School is starting again for a lot of kids. Primary schools and secondary schools and universities for a lot of people. And what I'm noticing, I'm hearing from a lot of young girls, and I'm just going to put this out there, a lot of young girls are feeling pressured to fit a certain standard, the peer pressure to be a certain way. I have a young girl who I mentor, and she called me crying 2 days ago saying, I just don't fit in. Everyone is a certain way, girls are mean, this, that, yada, yada, yada. And I just want to say this, don't feel the pressure to conform. Okay, whoever's watching is those in college, young people. We talked about bullying. We talked about the struggles of being young. Don't feel the pressure to conform to what people are doing. Be who you are. You don't need to look like a certain person. You don't need to be a certain person. Who you are is enough. You were not born to fit in. You were born to stand out. So stand out like a freaking sore thumb. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I
Thank you.
love this panel so much, ladies. Thank you so much. I'm gonna officially end.
Yeah.
Make sure to share. Feel free to cut out some, key points and share on your platforms. I love you so much. Remain online while I end the broadcast, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.
Bye, everyone.